Good wishes to all of you. India, People and Economy. Textbook in Geography for Class 12, Part 2. Unit 1, Chapter 1. Population, Distribution, Density, Growth and Composition. Audiobook. Take a look at this image. The people are very important component of a country. India is the second most populous country after China in the world with its total population of 1,210 million 2011. India's population is larger than the total population of North America, South America, and Australia put together. More often, it is argued that such a large population invariably puts pressure on its limited resources and is also responsible for many socio-economic problems in the country. How do you perceive the idea of India? Is it simply a territory? Does this signify an amalgam of people? Is it a territory inhabited by people living under certain institutions of governance? In this chapter, we will discuss the patterns of distribution, density, growth, and composition of India's population. Sources of population data. Population data are collected through census operation held every 10 years in our country. The first population census in India was conducted in 1872, but its first complete census was conducted only in 1881. Distribution of population. Examine figure 1.1 and try to describe the patterns of spatial distribution of population shown on it. It is clear that India has a highly uneven pattern of population distribution. The percentage shares of population of the states and union territories in the country appendix show that Uttar Pradesh has the highest population followed by Maharashtra, Bihar and West Bengal. Activity. Looking at the data in appendix, I arrange the Indian states and union territories according to their sizes and population and find out. Take a look at this map. Figure 1.1, India distribution of population. States UTS of large size and large population. States or UTS of large size but small population. States or UTS of smaller size but larger population. Check from the table appendix 1A that UP, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh along with Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Karnataka and Gujarat together account for about 76% of the total population of the country. On the other hand, share of population is very small in the states like Jammu and Kashmir 1.04%, Arunachal Pradesh 0.11% and Uttarakhand 0.84% in spite of these states having very large geographical area. Such an uneven spatial distribution of population in India suggests a close relationship between population and physical, socio-economic and historical factors. As far as the physical factors are concerned, it is clear that climate along with the terrain and availability of water largely determines the pattern of the population distribution. Consequently, we observe that the North Indian plains, deltas, and coastal plains have higher proportion of population than the interior district of southern and central Indian states, Himalayas, some of the northeastern and the western states. However, development of irrigation Rajasthan, availability of mineral and energy resources Jharkhand, and development of transport network peninsular states have resulted in moderate to high concentration of population in areas which were previously very thinly populated. Among the socio-economic and historical factors of distribution of population, important ones are evolution of settler agriculture and agriculture development, pattern of human settlement, development of transport network, industrialization and urbanization. It is observed that the regions falling in the river plains and coastal areas of India have remained the regions of larger population concentration, even though the uses of natural resources like land and water in these regions have shown the sign of degradation. The concentration of population remains high because of an early history of human settlement and development of transport network. On the other hand, sorry, the urban regions of Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bengaluru, Pune, Ahmedabad, Chennai, and Jaipur have high concentration of population due to industrial development and urbanization drawing large numbers of rural urban migrants. Density of population. Density of population is expressed as numbers of persons per unit area. It helps in getting a better understanding of the spatial distribution of population in relation to land. The density of population in India 2011 is 382 persons per square kilometer. There has been a steady increase of more than 200 persons per square kilometer over the last 50 years as the density of population increased from 117 persons per square kilometer in 1951 to 382 persons per square kilometer in 2011. The data shown in Appendix 1 give an idea of spatial variations of population densities in the country, which ranges from as low as 17 persons per square kilometer in Arunachal Pradesh to 11,297 persons in the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Among the northern Indian states, Bihar 1102, West Bengal 1129, and Uttar Pradesh 828 have higher densities, while Kerala 859 and Tamil Nadu 555 have higher densities among the peninsular Indian states. States like Assam, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Odisha have moderate densities. The hill states of the Himalayan region and northeastern states of India, excluding Assam, have relatively low densities, while the Union territories, excluding Andaman and Nicobar Islands, have very high densities of population. Appendix 1. The density of population, as discussed in the earlier paragraph, is a crude measure of human and land relationship. To get a better insight into the human-land ratio in terms of pressure of populations on total cultivable land and physiological and the agricultural densities should be found out, which are significant for a country like India having a large agricultural population. Take a look at figure 1.2, India density of population. Psychological density is equal to total population by net cultivated area. Agriculture density is equal to total agriculture population by net cultivable area. Agriculture population includes cultivators and agriculture laborers and their family members' activity. While the help of data given in Appendix 2 calculate the psychological and agricultural densities of population of Indian states and union territories. Compare them with density of population and see how are these different. Growth of population. Growth of population is the change in the number of people living in particular area between 2 points of time. Its rate is expressed in percentage. Population growth has two components, namely natural and induced. While the natural growth is analyzed by assessing the crude birth and death rates, the induced components are explained by the volume of inward and outward movement of people in any given area. However, in the present chapter, we will only discuss the natural growth of India's population. The decadal and annual growth rates of population in the India are both very high and steadily increasing over time. The annual growth rate of India's population is 1.64 per percent 2011. Population doubling time. Population doubling time is the time taken by any population to double itself as its current annual growth rate. The growth rate of population in India over the last 1 century has been caused by annual birth rates and death rate and rate of migration, and thereby shows different trends. There are four distinct phases of growth identified within this period. Take a look at table 1.1, decadal growth rates in India 1901 to 2011. Census years, total population, growth rate, absolute number, percentage of growth. 1901 238396 327. 1911 2520 93 390 plus 13 69 7063 plus 5.75%. 1921 25 132 121 minus 772 117 minus 0.31. 1931 27 89 77 238. 27 plus 27 65 60 25 plus 11.0 660. 1941 31 8660580 plus 39 68 33 42 plus 14.22. 1951 36 10 88 090 plus 42 42 0485 plus 13.31. 1961 43 92 34 771 7768 2873 plus 21.51. 1971 54 81 59 65 2 plus 10 89 24 881 plus 2 24.80. 1981 68 33 29 097 13 51 69 445 plus 24.66. 1991 84 630 2688 16 29 73 591 23.85. 2001 102 861 0328 plus 18 23 07640 plus 21.54. 2011 12 10 19 34 22 plus 18 15 83 094 plus 17.64. Decadal growth rate G is equal to P2 minus P1 by P1 into 100, where P1 is equal to population of the base year, P2 is equal to population of the present year. Source: Census of India 2011 Provincial. Take a look at figure 1.3, India growth of population. Phase 1. The period from 1901 to 1921 is referred to as a period of stagnant or stationary phase of growth of India's population, since in this period growth rate was very low, even recording a negative growth rate during 1911 to 1921. Both the birth rate and death rate were high, keeping the rate of increase low. Appendix 3. Poor health and medical services, illiteracy of people at large, and inefficient distribution system of food and other basic necessities were largely responsible for the high birth and death rates in this period. Phase 2. The decades 1921 to 1951 are referred to as the period of steady population growth. An overall improvement in health and sanitation throughout this country brought down the mortality rate. At the same time, better transport and communication system improved distribution system. The crude birth rate remained high in this period, leading to higher growth rate than the previous phase. This is impressive at the backdrop of great economic depressions, 1920s and World War II. Phase 3. The decades 1951 to 1981 are referred to as the period of population explosion in India, which was caused by a rapid fall in the mortality rate but a high fertility rate of population in the country. The average annual growth rate was as high as 2.2%. It is in this period after the independence that developmental activities were introduced through a centralized planning process and economy started showing up, ensuring the improvement of living condition of people at large. Consequently, there was a high natural increase and higher growth rate. Besides, increased international migration bringing in Tibetans, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, and even people from Pakistan contributed to the high growth rate. Phase 4. In the post 1981 till present, the growth rate of country's population, though remained high, has started slowing down gradually, table 1.1. A downward trend of crude birth rate is held responsible for such a population growth. This was in turn affected by an increase in the mean age at marriage. Improved quality of life, particularly education of females in the country. The growth rate of population is, however, still high in the country, and it has been projected by World Development Report that population of India will touch 1,350 million by 2025. The analysis done so far shows the average growth rate, but the country also has wide variations. Appendix 4 in growth rates from one area to another, which is discussed below. Regional variation in population growth. The growth rate of population during 1991 to 2001 in Indian states and union territories shows very obvious pattern. The states like Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, Puducherry and Goa show a low rate of growth not exceeding 20% over the decade. Kerala registered the lowest growth rate 9.4, not only in this group of states but also in the country as a whole. A continuous belt of states from west to east in the northwest, north, and north central parts of the country has relatively high growth rate than the southern states. It is in this belt, comprising Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Sikkim, Assam, West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand, the growth rate on the average remained 20 to 25%. During 2001 to 2011, the growth rates of almost all states and union territories have registered a lower figure compared to the previous decade, namely 1991 to 2001. The percentage decadal growth rates of the six most populous states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh, have all fallen during 2001 to 2011 compared to 1991 to 2001. The fall being the lowest for Andhra Pradesh 3.5% percentage points and highest for Maharashtra 6.7 percentage points. Tamil Nadu 3.9 percentage points and Puducherry 7.1 percentage points have registered some increase during 2001 to 2011 over the previous decade. Activity. With the help of data given in Appendix 1 and 1A, compare the growth rate of population of different states by UTS between 1991 to 2001 and 2001 to 2011. Take the population growth data of the selected districts of your respective state for total male and female population and represent them with the help of composite bar graph. An important aspect of population growth in India is the growth of its adolescents. At present, the share of adolescents, that is up to the age group of 10 to 19 years, is about 20.9% 2011, among which male adolescents constitute 52.7% and female adolescents constitute 47.3%. The adolescent population, though regarded as the youthful population having high potentials, but at the same time they are quite vulnerable if not guided and channelized properly. There are many challenges for the society as far as these adolescents are concerned, some of which are lower at age at marriage, illiteracy, particularly female illiteracy, school dropouts, low intake of nutrients, high rate of maternal mortality of adolescents' mothers, high rate of HIV and AIDS infections, physical and mental disability or retardedness, drug abuse and alcoholism, juvenile delinquency and committance of crimes, etc. In view of these, the Government of India has undertaken certain policies to impart proper education to the adolescent groups so that their talents are better channelized and properly utilized. The National Youth Policy is one example which has been designed to look into the overall development of our large youth and adolescent population. The National Youth Policy NYP 2014, launched in February 2014, proposes a holistic vision for the youth of India, which is to empower the youth of the country to achieve their full potential and through them enable India to find its rightful place in the community of nations. The NYP 2014 has defined youth as persons in the age group of 15 to 29 years. The Government of India also formulated the National Policy for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship in 2015 to provide an umbrella framework to all skilling activities being carried out within the country and to align these two common standards and link skilling with demand centers. It appears from the above discussions that the growth rate of population is widely variation over space and time in the country and also highlights various social problems related to the growth of population. However, in order to have a better insight into the growth pattern of population, it is also necessary to look into the social composition of population. Population composition. Population composition is a distinct field of study within population geography with a vast coverage of analysis of age and sex, Place of residence, ethnic characteristics, tribes, language, regional, material status, literacy and education, occupational characteristics, etc. In this section, the composition of our Indian population with respect to their rural urban characteristics, language, religion, and pattern of occupation will be discussed. Rural urban composition. Composition of population by their respective places of residence is an important indicator of social and economic characteristics. This becomes even more significant for a country where about 68.8% of its total population lives in village 2011. Activity. Compare the data given in Appendix 4 and 4a. Calculate the percentages of rural population of the states in India and represent them categorically on a map of India. Do you know that India has 648,67 villages according to the census 2011, out of which 597,608, 93.2% are inhabited villages. However, the distribution of rural population is not uniform throughout the country. You might have noted that the states like Bihar and Sikkim have very high percentage of rural population. The states of Goa and Maharashtra have only little over half of their total population residing in villages. The Union territories, on the other hand, have smaller proportion of rural population, except Dadra and Nagar Haveli, 53.38%. The size of villages also varies considerably. It is less than 200% in the hill states of northeastern India, western Rajasthan and run of Kutch, and has highest 17,000 persons in the state of Kerala and in parts of Maharashtra. A thorough examination of the pattern of distribution of rural population of India reveals that both at intrastate and interstate levels, the relative degree of urbanization and extent of rural urban migration regulate the concentration of rural population. You have noted that contrary to rural population, the proportion of urban population 31.16% in India is quite low, but it is showing a much faster rate of growth over the decades. The growth rate of urban population has accelerated due to enhanced economic development and improvement in health and hygienic conditions. The distribution of urban population too, as in the case of total population, has a wide variation throughout the country. Appendix 4. Activity. Compare the data of Appendix 4 and 4a and identify the states UTS with a very high and very low proportion of urban population. It is, however, noticed that in almost all the states and union territories there has been a considerable increase of urban population. This indicates both the development of urban areas in terms of socio-economic conditions and an increased rate of rural urban migration. The rural urban migration is conspicuous in the cause of urban areas along the main road links and railroads in the North Indian plains. The industrial areas around Kolkata, Mumbai, Bengaluru, Mysore, Madurai, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Surat, Delhi to Kanpur, and Ludhiana to Jalandhar. In the agriculturally stagnant parts of the middle and lower Ganga plains, Telangana, non-irrigated western Rajasthan, remote hilly tribal areas of northeast, along the flood-prone areas of peninsular India and along eastern part of Madhya Pradesh, the degree of urbanization has remained low. Linguistic composition. India is a land of linguistic diversity. According to Grierson, Linguistic Survey of India, 1903 to 1928, there were 179 languages and as many as 544 dialects in the country. In the context of modern India, there are about 22 scheduled languages and a number of non-scheduled languages. Activity. See how many languages appear on a 10 rupees note. Among the scheduled languages, the speakers of Hindi have the highest percentage. The smallest languages groups are Sanskrit, Bodo, and Manipuri speakers. 2011. However, it is noticed that the linguistic regions in the country do not have a sharp and distinct boundary. Rather, they gradually merge and overlap in their respective frontier zones. Linguistic classification. The speakers of major Indian languages belong to four language families: which have their subfamilies and branches or groups. This can be better understood from Table 1.2. Religious composition. Religion is one of the most dominant forces affecting the cultural and political life of the majority of Indians. Since religion virtually permeates into almost all the aspects of people's family and community lives, it is important to study the religious composition in detail. Table 1.2. Classification of modern Indian languages. Family, subfamily, branch or group, speech areas. Austric Nishadha 1.38%, Austro-Asiatic, Austronesian, Mon-Khmer, Munda, Meghalaya, Nicobar Islands, West Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Assam, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, outside India. Dravidian, Dravida 20%. South Dravidian, Central Dravidian, North Dravidian, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, MP, Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Maharashtra, Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh. Sino-Tibetan Kirata 0.85%, Tibetan Myanmar, Tibetan Himalaya, Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, North Assam, Arunachal Pradesh. Siamese Chinese, Assam, Myanmar. Assam, Nagaland, Manipuri, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. Indo-European, Aryan 73%, Indo-Aryan, Iranian, outside India. Dardic, Jammu and Kashmir, Indo-Aryan, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar, Odisha, West Bengal, Assam, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa. Source: Ahmad A. 1999. Social Geography, Harvard Publication, New Delhi. Activity: look at Table 1.2 and prepare a pie diagram of linguistic composition of India showing the sectoral shares of each linguistic group. Or prepare a quantitative symbols map of India showing the distribution of different linguistic groups in the country. Take a look at Table 1.3 Religious Communities of India 2011. Religious group 2011 population in million, percentage of total. Hindus 966.3, 79.8%. Muslims 172.2, 14.2. Christians 27.8, 2.3. Sikhs 20.8, 1.7. Buddhists 8.4, 0.7. Jains 4.5, 0.4. Other religions and persuasions ORP 7.9, 0.7. Religion not stated 2.9, 0.2. This spatial distribution of religious communities in the country, Appendix 5, shows that there are certain states and districts having large numerical strength of one religion, while the same may be very negligibly represented in other states. Hindus are distributed as a major group in many states, ranking from 70 to 90% and above, except the districts of states along Indo-Bangladesh border, Indo-Pak border, Jammu and Kashmir, hill states of northeast and in scattered areas of Deccan Plateau and Ganga Plain. Muslims, the largest religious minority, are concentrated in Jammu and Kashmir, certain districts of West Bengal and Kerala, many districts of Uttar Pradesh around Delhi, and in Lakshadweep. They form majority in Kashmir Valley and Lakshadweep. Religion and landscape. Formal expression of religious on landscape is manifested through scattered structures, use of symmetries and assemblages of plants and animals, groves of trees for religious purposes. Sacred structures are widely distributed throughout the country. These may range from inconspicuous village shrines to large Hindu temples, monumental masjids, or ornately designed cathedrals in large metropolitan cities. These temples, masjids, gurudwaras, monasteries, and churches differ in size, form, space use, and density, while attributing a special dimension to the total landscape of the area. The Christian population is distributed mostly in rural areas of the country. The main concentration is observed along the western coast around Goa, Kerala, and also in the hill states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chotanagpur area, and hills of Manipur. Sikhs are mostly concentrated in relatively small area of the country, particularly in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi. Jains and Buddhists, the smallest religious groups in India, have their concentration only in selected areas of the country. Jains have major concentration in the urban. The Christian population is distributed mostly in rural areas of the country. The main concentration is observed along the western coast around Goa, Kerala, and also in the hill states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Chota Nagpur areas, and hills of Manipur. Sikhs are mostly concentrated in a relatively small area of the country, particularly in the states of Punjab, Haryana, and Delhi. Jains and Buddhists, the smallest religions in selected areas of the country. Jains have major concentration in the urban areas of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Maharashtra, while the Buddhists are concentrated mostly in Maharashtra. The other areas of Buddhist majority are Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh in Jammu and Kashmir, Tripura and Rahul and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. The other religions of India include Zoroastrians, tribal and other indigenous faiths and beliefs. These groups are concentrated in small pockets scattered throughout the country. Composition of working population. The population of India, according to their economic status, is divided into three groups, namely main workers, marginal workers, and non workers. It is observed that in India, the proportion of workers, both main and marginal, is only 39.8% 2011, leaving a vast majority of about 60% as non workers. This indicates an economic status in which there is a larger proportion of dependent population, further indicating possible existence of large number of unemployed or underemployed people. Standard census definition. Main worker is a person who works for at least 183 days or 6 months in a year. Marginal worker is a person who works for less than 183 days or 6 months in a year. What is work preparation rate? The what is work participation rate? The proportion of working population of the states and union territories show a moderate variations from about 39.6% in Goa to about 49.9% in Daman and Diu. Daman and Diu. The states with larger percentages of workers are Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Karnataka, Manipuri, and Meghalaya. Among the Union territories, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu have higher participation rate. It is understood that in the concept of a country like India, the work participation rate tends to be higher in the areas of lower levels of economic development, since number of manual workers are needed to perform the subsistence or near subsistence economic activities. The occupational composition, see box of India's population, which actually means engagement of an individual in farming, manufacturing, trade, services, or any kind of professional activities, show a large proportion of primary sector workers compared to secondary and tertiary sectors. About 54.6% of total working population are cultivators and agriculture laborers, whereas only 3.8% of workers are engaged in household industries and 41.6% are other workers including non-household industries, trade, commerce, construction and repair and other services. As far as the occupation of country's male and female population is concerned, male workers outnumber female workers in all the three sectors. Take a look at figure 1.4 and table 1.4. Take a look at figure 1.4, India Occupational Structure 2011. You can see here cultivators, agriculture laborers, household industries workers, other workers. Gender India better than neighbors. You can read this magazine. Identify some issues in which India is ahead for a lagging behind its neighbors. Promoting gender sensitivity through Beti Bachao Beti Padhao social campaign. The division of the society into male, female, and transgender is believed to be natural and biological. But in reality, there are social constructs and roles assigned in individuals which are reinforced by social institutions. Consequently, these biological differences become the basis of social differentiations, discriminations, and exclusions. The exclusion of over half of the population becomes a serious handicap to any developing and civilized society. It is a global challenge which has been acknowledged by the UNDP when it mentioned that if development is not endangered, it is endangered. HDR UNDP 1995. Discrimination in general and gender discrimination in particular is a crime against humanity. All efforts need to be made of addresses the denial of opportunities of education, employment, politi- political political representation, low wages for similar types of work, disagreed to their entitlement to live a dignified life, etc. A society which fails to acknowledge and take effective measures to remove such discriminations cannot be treated as a civilized one. The government of India has duly acknowledged the adverse impacts of these discriminations and launched a nationwide campaign called Beti Bachao Beti Padhao. Occupational categories. The 2011 census had divided the working population of India into four major categories: cultivators, agricultural laborers, household industrial workers, other workers. Take a look at Table 1.4 Sectorial Composition of Workforce in India 2011. Categories: population, primary, secondary, tertiary, persons to total workers, male, female, primary, 26, 30, 22, 473, 54.6%, 16, 54, 47, 075, 9, 75, 75, 398, secondary, 1, 83, 36, 307, 3.8, 97, 75, 635, 85, 60, 672, territory, 20, 03, 84, 531, 41.6, 15, 66, 43, 220, 4, 37, 41, 311. Activity: prepare composition bar graphs, one for India and the other for your respective states, showing the proportion of male and female workers in agriculture, household industries, and other sectors, and compare. The number of female workers is relatively high in primary sector, though in recent years there has been some improvement in work participation of women in secondary and tertiary sectors. It is important to note that the proportion of workers in agriculture sector in India has shown a decline over the last few decades, 58.2% in 2001 to 54.6% in 2011. Consequently, the participation rate in secondary and tertiary sector has registered an increase. This indicates a shift of dependence of workers from farm-based occupation to non-farm-based ones, indicating a sectoral shift in the economy of the country. The spatial variation of work participation rate in different sectors in the country. Appendix 5 and VA is 5A is very wide. For instance, the states like Himachal Pradesh and Nagaland have very large shares of cultivators. On the other hand, states like Bihar, Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and Madhya Pradesh have higher proportion of agriculture laborers. The highly urbanized areas like Delhi, Chandigarh, and Puducherry have a very large proportion of workers being engaged in other services. This indicates not only availability of limited farming land, but also large-scale urbanization and industrialization requiring more workers in non-farm sectors. Sorry, I have some voice problem today. Exercises. Choose the right answer of the following from the given options. India's population as per 2011 census is 1028 million, 3182 million, 3287 million, 1210 million. Which one of the following states has the highest density of population in India? West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Punjab. Which one of the following states has the highest proportion of urban population in India according to 2011 census? Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Kerala, Goa. Which one of the following is the largest linguistic group of India? Sino-Tibetan, Indo-Aryan, Austric, Dravidian. Answer the following questions in about 30 words. Very hot and dry and very cold and wet regions of India have low density of population. It is light. Explain the role of climate on the distribution of population. Which states have large rural population in India? Give one reason for such large rural population. Why do some states of India have higher rates of work participation than others? The agriculture sector has the largest share of Indian workers. Explain. Answer the following questions in about 150 words. Discuss the spatial pattern of density of population in India. Give an account of the occupational structure of India's population. Thank you.